You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast, so if you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot, turn this off before you get butthurt and mad, start to cry, have to run to your safe space. All opinions are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any government agency. Welcome to MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast. Your host, the Iceman. We're in the clubhouse. And we have a guest, and this will be a first time. We have an actual full-time female law enforcement person in here. We've had a female before. She was an investigator at one point. This one's actually active and still working. So we got Jay Short is her nickname. Welcome to the clubhouse.
Thank you.
We're going to start out with a couple of questions. What is your favorite movie?
Ooh.
It's not a trick question.
Oh, it's got to be 50 Shades.
Okay.
The trilogy.
I've never seen the movies or the book, but I've heard
You should.
Quite interesting.
The books are better than the movies.
Books are always better than the movie.
But the movies are still good.
I remember watching a long time ago, Stephen King had that movie, Misery.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but I had read the book before, and the book was 100 times better than the movie.
I mean, if you're into breaking ankles and all.
Well, actually, in the book, no spoiler, it's old, but in the book, she actually don't break them. She actually chops one of them off with an axe.
Nice.
Yes. What is your favorite TV show?
I don't watch TV.
Okay, so we have a negative on the TV show. Your favorite place to eat?
Hooters.
It seems to be popular among the law enforcement professional.
Hooters make me happy.
Hooters. And your favorite drink?
Beer.
What type of beer?
Michelob Ultra.
Okay. You got to specify the beer. And are you a 10 mile an hour over person or a 15 when you're writing tickets?
15. And you better have more than 3 violations.
Really? She's not a ticket writer, obviously.
No.
But I do know from some conversations you do like working dope.
I do.
See, I'm a ticket person. She likes the drugs.
I like running dope.
Not for profit, but to arrest people.
Correct.
So do you, it's a backstory. How long you been in law enforcement?
I started in 2008.
Okay. And you currently work for a PD.
I do.
And I think you are corporal.
I am. But we don't have anything in between corporal and chief.
Well, that's kind of a big jump there.
A little bit of a jump.
Go from officer to corporal to chief.
Correct. So we currently run extremely shorthanded. So I do my corporal's supervisory duties, and I also dispatch for my shift.
So you're multitasking.
I multitask.
You got any, I'm sure you got to have some funny stories here and there, right?
There's always funny stories.
Pick one out. What you got? Shock us, make us laugh.
Oh, so, let's see. With the exception of the current agency, every agency that I've worked for, my first night on duty, I've always had a naked person call.
Tell us about your naked people. People
Well,
like hearing about naked people.
they
Except for Freebird. He's never had a naked person. Just throw that back out there.
We always have naked people calls. So the first one was naked people skinny dipping at the boat launch. And I had another one. I pulled a guy over riding a bicycle naked.
Was it the banana seat or was it the little bitty 10-speed?
No, it was the
on
little. It was the little
bicycle?
bitty seat. I don't know how he did it, but when I finally
So uncomfortable.
flipped back around and got around to him, he kept trying to put his hands in his pants and his shorts, and it wasn't working because his shorts were on backwards. So that was like the FBI would have called that one a clue. So everybody had it's always been a naked person call.
So
It's a
just
theme.
like how men sometimes get propositioned by badge bunnies.
I can get my own badge.
Are there badge rabbits?
I can get my own badge. I don't need anybody else's.
I'm just saying though, do you get like propositioned by men who
daily, but
Yes,
they all
but
want to be
they-
put in handcuffs. I don't understand.
well, if they have dope, you can oblige them.
I can oblige them, and I do so willfully and with pleasure.
I think DWI you worked recently. Didn't you tell me that, or was it drugs?
No, it was all drugs. I haven't done a DWI in a while. My first DWI, I think it took me 8 hours to write that report, but that was back when it was still carbon copy.
Yeah, I think that's the last time I wrote one.
It's been a while.
I'm not saying I don't do it. I'm just not a fan of it. It's not my little niche there.
I
Yep.
usually turn DWIs over to state, especially if I know a trooper that's working in the area that strictly does DWIs. I'll turn that over to them.
Yeah.
If it's dope, I'll take it. But outside of that, if you want the DWI, you go for
Well,
it.
I think some of the DWI reports are harder than writing up a murder. I just don't.
I'm not a fan of the DWI report.
The paperwork that goes involved with it is just horrible for me. But some people are great at it. I've known some guys that just like aces at the DWI.
Oh, some of them can pop it out in 30 minutes, and I'm
I'm one of them guys that takes me over half my shift to write this shit out.
Yes.
No, not a fan. We did have a guy recently. The road unit says, "I'll take it. I love working DWIs." I'm like,
Go for it, buddy.
Thank you, Jesus.
I applaud you.
Guy blew I think it was like a .4 or some shit like
Nice.
that at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. If anybody don't know, that is alcohol poisoning.
Slightly.
And he had to be brought to the hospital. So, yeah. So, I'm just guessing that he may have a problem with alcohol if you're at a .4.
Was that his first, second, third, fourth?
That was actually his first, believe it or not.
Like literally his first, or just
Literally.
his first that he got charged multiple times with
no.
first?
Literally his first time ever being arrested for driving while intoxicated. He was young, too. I mean, I think he was in his mid-20s.
I'd call him a professional.
I'm sure he was a functioning alcoholic. So, you got any interesting drug-related cases?
You mean the time that I found dope in the baby bottle, or the time that I found dope in the dildo in the car seat?
No, let's go with the dildo in the car seat one. For 200.
Right? We're going to play Jeopardy on this one?
Yeah.
So I pulled a car over on a traffic stop and immediately detected the odor of burnt marijuana emitting from the vehicle, and went ahead, ran the name. They had a warrant. Kind of cut and dry at that point. And I searched the vehicle incident to an arrest and found narcotics in the dildo where the batteries would have normally gone, hidden in the baby seat. But there was no baby in the car.
Well, good thing, since it had a dildo in it.
Just saying.
So I guess it wasn't a functioning dildo at this point. Was it like marijuana or
No,
was it pills?
It was
or-
just marijuana.
There's a lot of trouble just having
marijuana
some
and
weed.
dildo. What was that? Natural substances?
I wonder if it was a used one or not.
I didn't look that far into it.
You didn't do any swabs for
No
DNA?
swabs, but I did have gloves.
I hope so. I've seen plenty of occasions where a cop will be searching the vehicle and say, hey, look at this. And then you turn around and he's holding a big dildo. And it's like, dude, you don't have gloves on. And pretty sure that thing's probably been used
No,
to
if
get touching it now.
If I'm going in, I've got gloves.
Well,
That's
I'm
rule number
talking
one.
about back in the day. Now you got a lot of these drugs that absorb through your skin that you have to. I'm talking
Right?
about a long time ago where we didn't worry about stuff like that.
This is before fentanyl hit the street.
Yes, this was pre-fentanyl. Now you have to be careful with everything you touch because you don't want to die from an overdose because you touched the bad guy's drugs.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about diseases anymore. I got to worry about dope rendering me unconscious.
Still got to worry about diseases.
Well, that too, but in the immediate, I have to worry about it rendering me unconscious to where I can't function.
Yeah. Diseases won't leave you dead, it's true.
No,
But not at that particular moment.
correct.
Don't know what you catch. It can get you later. But I think a lot of times now I think they actually have pills for HIV and stuff that people can like live forever on now. Until I guess they die of old age.
I believe that is to be correct.
Still don't want it.
No, I don't. I want nothing to do with that.
I know you got some funny stories. Tell me some funny shit.
Funny stories. The lessons that are learned on the side of the road at 2:00 in the morning,
Sure. I mean,
they're pretty good.
well, tell me some lessons.
So when I first started, I was in my early 20s. I was a full-time college student at the time. Worked for a municipality and got cut loose and was supervised by a outside agency. It was quickly learned of what you can and what you can't do on the side of the road. And at that time, I couldn't make a traffic stop without 2 or 3 agencies coming up to me and making sure that I was okay. And finally, I had to tell them, hey, I need to be able to do this on my own. And they let me do it on my own. And we would sit on the side of the road 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and knowing that I had class at 8 o'clock, but I would sit there with my nose in a code book. And
I've seen a lot of times that whenever there's a female on the shift, a lot of the guys feel like I think they have to protect the female and will, I don't know, overly do it, however you want to say it. Like every call they're going to show up on and stuff like that, even bullshit calls.
they did.
And finally, I think
They did, but when they realized that I could keep up with them, then it was game on and it was fun time. So at that point, I was the only female in my agency. I was the only female in the entire parish at the time. So I got called out on multiple things.
well, it's nice having female on the shift when you arrest a female on the scene. They can search the female easier
Correct.
than the male. Because I've had to search females before, and it's uncomfortable doing it. We're using the back of our hand the proper way and stuff to make sure you're not, there's no sexual gratification or pleasure out of it.
But it's uncomfortable
it's
for females
still
too.
got to do it.
It's uncomfortable for me to go and search a female too. So I get called out one night, and I was my first year in law enforcement. I get called out one night for an agency assist to go and search a female, and I hightail it down there. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I get down there, I get briefed on what was going on, and then I'm presented with the female to search. And I go ahead and search the female. she was arrested at that point, and she was obviously taken into custody. And that was the end of that situation. But she was a rather large female. So the joke was on me at that point.
You had to check under stuff.
Under stuff, around stuff, through stuff. Then she got brought to the jail, and they did their thing from there. But at that point, I made sure that she didn't have any weapons on her and that it was safe for her to be transported by another unit. And then the jail did a further search from there.
I hate it when this has happened several times when you're out and you're going to arrest a female or something like that. And you're like, look, I'm going to have to get a female or something to search you and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, I don't have nothing on me. And next you know, the titties are popping out and everything else.
And you find a 357 and a bazooka.
No, but it's just like, it's like you're in the middle of the Walmart parking lot. And next thing you know, she's pulling her freaking clothes off. And you're like, holy shit, no.
No, don't do that.
Put your weapons of mass destruction. I don't want to see back under this shirt or something like that. Yeah, that's happened. So it's like, I don't have nothing there. I'm like, no, put the shirt back there. A lot of times what I'll do, if I don't have a female present, I'll have them, if they have a bra on, I'll have them grab the front of their bra and pull it out real far and just let it pop back. And then same thing with the back. And it keeps me from having to even use the back of my hand and rub on some woman's breast, especially nowadays times. I don't want to be accused of, oh, he tried to cop a feel on my titty. It's like,
but
no, I didn't. I wasn't around your waist.
Nowadays, even female officers are accused of the same stuff. So we almost have to act like we're a male and go through the same precautions and everything just to protect ourselves. That's where body cameras come into play.
I think it's coming for agency I'm working for now. They're actually testing out some different ones, so I'm pretty sure it's coming, which I'm all for. If you don't have nothing to hide, you don't have to. Who cares if you got a camera on, right?
Right. The first agency that I worked for, we had, I was probably there a month, and we didn't have cameras. And then we finally got dash cams and audio recorders, and I loved my audio recorder. It was there. I had it. There was nothing that was questioned. As soon as I flipped my lights on, it went back a specified amount of time, and we went from there, and it didn't get turned off until the call was over. So the use of the audio camera or the audio recording and the dash camera really helped more than it did hinder anything.
Was just showing a lot today. A lot of the footage, everybody's, the cops need to wear body cameras and stuff like that because they're doing this. But come to find out, the cops aren't doing all the wrong, as much wrong as everybody thought they were doing. What these bad guys were trying to say we were doing. Now people are hollering, bitching about the body cameras, but they're here. They're not going nowheres. No. Everybody has a camera now.
Everybody has a camera. Everybody has a cell phone.
Tell them rookies whenever around me, I'm like, look, just the best thing you can do is just, even if you don't see it, just always assume somebody is recording you. So
correct.
Don't do something you don't want on the news.
Well, the thing is if you're doing everything right, you don't mind it coming up on Fox 8 News.
I still don't want to be on the news.
I don't want to be on the news either, but
I see cameras I run. I know some people will try to get on TV and be on the news. I know cops like that.
No.
Me, I see the news. I want to be behind the camera, not in front of it.
Look, I want to do my job and I want to go home, and that's the end of it. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be in anything outside of what I have to be. But unfortunately, with the times that we're living in, especially with all the COVID stuff that's going on right now, the news is out there. So if your agency is hosting a COVID testing, then obviously the news is going to be out there reporting on what's going on.
No, bunch of COVID crap. It's crap.
Just saying.
When I first started this podcast, it was when the COVID stuff first started. If you listen to my first episode, I'd like go off on a tangent on this pastor called Tony Spell. But the longer this shit goes on, I'm more on his fucking side than what I was bitching about him. Because it's gotten a little ridiculous. The mask and everything else. Like I worked a football game today, and it was just sad. There's no tailgate. There's nothing allowed. And I'm used to seeing 100 and something thousand people, and I'm driving around a ghost town. Like, this sucks.
Well, if the 6 feet works and
6 feet
prevents everything, then why the mask? And if the mask works, then why the 6 feet? So there's conflicting stories, there's conflicting information, there's conflicting policies, and they're all coming out from multiple agencies, whether it's a civilian agency or an enforcement type agency. So the general public has absolutely no idea what to believe, but everything that's presented on social media is fact.
I got to work with some people I used to work with. You know, this one person today I was working with, he is a lieutenant now. So he is tasked with reading and approving his guys' reports. And we were having a conversation. I was like, he was bitching about, man, some of these people don't write this and they're not doing this. I was like, I remember several years ago that a certain individual got mad because their lieutenant denied their report. So this person came to their sergeant and says, tough to tell the lieutenant that can have me read it and approve it. And the lieutenant was like, sure, let him do it. And well, I read this guy's report, and it was just a crap report. And I'm like, I'm not approving this shit. You need to do this, and that. Well, this is the same person that now is bitching about everybody else's reports. Like, see how that shoe kind of turned around on you there?
A little bit. I mean, your report needs to answer the who, what, when, where, why, and how.
And we're just, pulled up on the scene. House was broke into.
No.
10-8.
No, that's not how that works. What?
Back in service. Yep, it was broke into.
So I have a question for you. What is the most powerful equipment that you carry with you throughout your shift?
My brain.
Negative.
I'm a smart motherfucker.
Well, you might be smart, but if it happened in your brain, then I don't know about it.
It's a secret weapon.
The secret weapon.
It's a secret brain weapon.
Which is what?
My brain.
Your
secret weapon.
Your pen. It's not your gun. It's not your handcuffs. It's not your taser. The most powerful equipment that you possess is your pen. Because if it didn't happen on, if it didn't,
pen.
You have a gel pen. Is that one of those erasable ink pens?
No, it's invisible ink.
Oh, invisible ink.
Yes, you can. I just got the vision of actually now everything's typed, but on a computer. But like when we used to actually handwrite reports, I wish I'd have thought about using visible ink to do that with one time. That'd just be fucking great.
Well, I guess I just dated myself then, since I said a pen.
Yeah, everything's written down. I mean, typed in computers now.
If it didn't happen on paper, it didn't happen. So the most powerful weapon that I possess, and probably rule number 1 that I was taught, was the most powerful equipment that I possess is my pen. It's not my gun. It's the pen.
My secret brain weapon.
Well, I have a secret.
You got to have a secret brain or the pen's not going to work. It's just going to flop around down there and make scribbly scratches and
you
not
can't,
know where.
You can't have a limp pen.
Well, you get a gel pen. I like these certain pens I like.
I like the rollerball pens, preferably the medium one.
I have to have a
0.7.
I have to have a fine tip because my handwriting fucking sucks. And if I don't have a fine tip, I'll actually write my own notes and come back and can't read what I fucking My own handwriting.
No, I like the thicker one. I'm that 0.7. It's got to be 0.5 or above. And it's got to be the rollerball. Don't give me the gel.
I like the gel.
No, I don't like the gel.
Gelling. Like Magellan.
No, I don't
Not no Dr. Soul shit with the gel on the paper. A lot of times now I work a lot of crashes and stuff. I don't even write shit down except for the file number on the card. I just take I take a picture of everything and give it to dispatch and then have them email me all the same information I took a picture of. So I double up on it. But I'll get out there and won't pull a pen out until I write the file number down and say, here's your file number, here's your file number.
So what software program do y'all use for Crash?
Oh, we're still using LA Crash.
Do you have the armadillo on yours?
Armadillo.
The moose? The alligator?
No, we have. I don't know. I never watched it. I think the only one I ever had to use was a deer.
I think there's a
No,
there's a moose on there.
We got on there and playing with the drawing software and like put cars running over people and stuff all over the place, but just playing with the drawing software. Of course, like I said, I'm old and I found them not too long ago. I need to find them and put them in here.
The stencils?
Studio. I still have my stencils.
Oh, I still have my stencils from when I started.
The handwrite and draw.
The carbon copy.
When I started, there was the crash report was one piece of paper front and back. That was both vehicles, your passengers, your drawing, and your narrative. That was it. I think a standard crash report just for a one-car crash is almost 4 pages long now.
I'm still trying to, so LA Crash is almost the standard that most agencies use. It was put in place by Louisiana State University. And there's a moose in it.
I'll have to look.
You can put a moose in your crash report.
Because we have lots of Mises, I don't know how you say it, mooses or whatever. They're just overpopulating area in Louisiana.
I don't know how you get a moose in your crash report, but it's in there. But I do appreciate all the angles and everything that they put in there that I don't have to create the drawing. I can just point and click and put it in there.
I think the only place you get moose was in Alaska and some of them areas like that.
Canada, something like that. I don't moose.
I have a moose.
I have a couple.
They should put like some little dead possums or some skunks or some shit like that. That would be more realistic than a moose.
I have a couple of friends that are state troopers in Alaska, and they have moose and caribou and stuff like that. And they asked me about it. I'm like, no, we don't have that down here.
No. I was in Salt Lake City one time and actually pulled over and stopped and looked. And this person said, what the hell are you doing? I said, I don't know what the fuck this roadkill is, but I got to see what it is.
What was it?
It was a porcupine. A big-ass porcupine. So you can hurt your car and puncture your tire all in one hit.
So
and porcupines are big.
Is that enough to puncture your tire?
Porcupine quill? I never grabbed a hold to none, but they look quite dangerous. I'm sure if you hit it at the right angle, it's going to pierce your tire.
I'm short. I'm only 5'3" with my boots on. So if I have to go and change a tire in my unit, I literally have to empty everything out of my unit, and I have to get in my trunk in order to get the spare tire out and pull it out of my unit in order to put it back on my car. So
you know how to solve that problem?
How's that?
Just don't get a flat tire.
Well,
don't run over shit you're not supposed to run over.
That wasn't my decision that night.
I hate getting a flat tire in the unit. I think I got a flat tire in one of my units one time and stopped and
yep, it's
flat. There was no lug wrench. And the jack didn't work right.
Oh, no. I got a call one night. It was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I was working for the sheriff's office at the time. And we got a call for a disabled vehicle on the side of the road. And I was the one assigned to the call at the time. I go out there. And the gentleman was in a Mercedes wearing a 3-piece suit, Italian leather shoes. And he had a flat tire.
He wanted you to change the tire?
He wanted me to change the tire. So they go.
He'd better get his 3-piece suit ass out that car. Start changing his own tire.
I proceeded to teach him a couple of life lessons that night, and I held the flashlight. I put a what do you call it? Like a moving blanket, something that you'd use to like protect furniture while you're moving. I always carried one with me in my car, and I put it down on the ground, and I showed him that, hey, this is going to protect your shoes while you're changing your tire. And I proceeded to hold the flashlight for him while I gave him instructions on how to change a tire.
Well, his ass could have called AAA if he had that much money with his Mercedes.
I was in a
Call
rural
AAA.
area of town, and probably AAA was 4 or 5 hours out. So the fastest thing for him to do was to call 911.
Yeah.
I was the lucky one to get dispatched, and I taught him life lessons that night.
I love being in rural areas. People say, well, I have AAA. Yes, ma'am. From my experience, AAA is going to take sometimes 3 to 4 hours to show up. I don't have 3 or 4 hours to sit there and visit with you waiting on it when I can call a record. It's going to be here within 10 minutes.
If you can get a wrecker. Because sometimes I can change the tire faster than I can to get the wrecker out there and get the person back on the road and on their way before I have to contact the wrecker.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I try to help our wrecker services out every once in a while, and if I can get the person back out on the road and changing a tire, then so be it. I change the tire, I ruin my manicure for the week, and I send them on about their way.
I pulled up to Stranded Motors one time, was helping this female lady change her tire. Next thing I know, this other car pulls up, and I'm watching. I'm like, what the hell? So finally he gets out, and he comes over. And I'm changing the tire, and this is this little chick's boyfriend. He's in there watching me change his tire. And after a couple of minutes, I was like, I asked her, I said, who is this? She says, oh, that's my boyfriend.
Really?
I'm like, okay. I said, hey, buddy.
Come on over here.
You get down here and finish this shit since you showed up on the scene.
Tighten up them lugs. Go ahead.
Getting my ass all dirty and shit all day long. Now, this week...
Did you have to tell him righty tighty, lefty loosey?
No. This week I did. I think this was Thursday or Wednesday. I don't know. We had it was a pretty busy day today, and close to it. Car on fire at the school. Get there. Car's definitely on fire. They had flames shooting all over out of the engine. This thing. Anyway, we ended up getting the fire way down where no other vehicles or nothing was injured, and went through several fire extinguishers. Fire department showed up and was able to finish it, but yes. I played fireman. I smelled like burnt fucking car all day. No, but the worst part of it is I just smelled like burnt plastic all day from this car. And other people, I asked somebody, it's like, well, I don't smell it. Well, I smelled it.
I smelled it all day long.
I smelled like burnt car all day. It was exciting. Car fire. One of the fire people, chief people asked me if I wanted an application to come help fight fires. If I wasn't so old in my career, I might reconsider that. Where I could watch TV, play PlayStation.
Being a firefighter?
Eat food. Yep, be a hose jockey. I'm too old for that. Now I'm too old to change career.
Wait, you don't want to drag hoses all day?
No. Too old and fat to be dragging hoses around all day. Pretty sure that would wear me the hell out.
I think
I'm too old to even go through fire academy if I applied at this point in my life.
I just think law enforcement has better toys.
Oh, they definitely have better toys. I was just looking at, the less work you got to do. They actually get to sleep on the job and don't get in trouble for it.
Well, this is true. I'm not allowed to sleep on the job.
No.
Not
Due to
even
popular opinion.
Not even on storm duty, 24-hour rotation, nothing. I'm not allowed to sleep on the job. And then I'm responsible for other people for doing their jobs, so I have to supervise them also.
Well,
yay me.
I'm still waiting for a funny story from you.
Oh.
She's so serious. she's not like this in regular parts, and she's usually way more funny than she's just. All right. I've heard about a story recently on a certain individual you had to, I guess, run a check on.
Well, it most certainly wasn't recently, but
no, it wasn't. Well, most of the good stuff happened back in the day.
Back in the day. So I am a 5th generation law enforcement officer in my family. So I get to hear about some of the stories. And one night I was sitting on the side of the road, had my nose in a book, the code book at that point. And I'm sitting with another deputy at the time. And he asked me if I can run a name for him. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. What is it? He's like, oh, I'm busy typing a report. And I'm like, okay, fine. What is it? So he gives me a driver's license number. And I call it into dispatch. And I'm like, hey, can you run the number for me? And they're like, absolutely. So they go ahead and run the number. And I'm familiar with the story because I've heard the story before from relatives that have been in law enforcement at this point. So I give them the driver's license number and they come back with the name. And as soon as my dispatcher comes back with the name, I'm dying laughing at this point because I knew I've been had. And I'm like, all right, bet. So my dispatcher comes back, hey, that comes back to a particular subject. And I'm like, okay. And I'm laughing so hard, I cannot even respond to my dispatcher. So my dispatcher gives me all the information that I need regarding the subject at the time. And I can't respond. I'm laughing. And I can't put laughing out over the air. So then my dispatcher comes back and asks me if I have received the information correctly. And my partner at the time has come back and said, yeah, we received the information regarding that particular subject. And I'm still laughing. And at this point, I want to strangle my partner because he's got me. So that particular subject came back to a Delicious Peters over the air. And I've got nothing at that point. So the funny part of the story is that my aunt has told me that she had a similar situation happen to her when she was a rookie. And she got had by the same driver's license number that came back to a Delicious Peters. And that's how that went.
Delicious. For the listeners, Mr. Peters. Mr. Delicious Peters, that was his real
name.
His real God-given name.
Legal name. Absolutely.
By his parents. And like I said, he's been on. His brother's name was Luscious.
Luscious?
Peters. Yes.
Yes.
He had Luscious Peters.
I believe Mr. Delicious has since passed.
Yes. Probably hundreds of people have back then used to run Mr. Delicious.
Yes, I got had by Delicious Peters, and that
just came out. You just said you got had by Delicious Peters.
I got had by Delicious Peters. I did.
No, you got had by another deputy who used Delicious Peters on you.
But it worked. It got me. And
we just went off the edge on that. We jumped off the cliff.
Oh, yeah. At that point, the other deputy had to go ahead and respond to dispatch for me because I was laughing too hard and I couldn't even get out 10-4 because I had received the information.
But Delicious Peters was a real person.
Delicious Peters is yes, absolutely.
I don't know if you had any kids, we'd call him Little Peter. But
I don't know if he had any children or not.
I don't know. I don't know what they would be. Like I said, my name's Delicious Peters, and it's my little Peter. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they had children or not, and if maybe they got away from the first names that were a little strange, and named their kid John or
don't know.
But either way, they still had the last name, so it didn't matter if it was John Peter or...
Yeah, but John Peter's not being called.
It's not delicious.
It's not delicious at all.
Or luscious. Or succulent.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got that far.
I don't know. What's your mom's name? Mom's name is I don't know, Salty Peter. Just so many ways things that you can do with a Peter, and you can name it delicious. Just saying.
Guess it would depend on what flavor of the week it was.
I don't know. Eat more pineapples. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, are we going to go the pineapple route?
No, we let's go on to let's move on from Peter's to the. I think there was a drive-by you had.
I did have a drive-by. Unfortunately, it was a couple of my comrades for the evening that decided that they were going to roll by me, and I'm getting all excited at this point. I'm still a rookie. I had no idea what I was really doing. And they rolled by me at about $1.20, and I'm all excited. I got something on the radar, and here we go, and it's game on. And they roll by me, and I realized who it was, and I call them on our talk channel, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, keep up. And I'm like, bet. So, bam, there it was. I quickly learned defensive driving, and I kept up with them and made it to where we were going.
That God won't be.
We ended up going to the gas station to eat a hot dog.
Well, you need to go to the gas station and refuel after going up that fast. I was this was many years ago. I was going to eat supper.
Is this before I was born?
Almost, probably.
No, okay.
Going to eat supper, meet somebody. Well, I came through this town, and I was rolling I was well over 100. And
we don't put that out on the air anymore.
This is back in the day. Statute of limitations have.
Oh, we're good then.
And anyway, I hear the city cop call out that he's going to be in pursuit of a white vehicle in excess of 100 miles an hour, and he gives the location. Well, I'm looking. I'm like, fuck! I'm right here. Where's this motherfucker at? And I'm going to help him get him stopped. And I realized, I'm like, fuck! He's probably talking about me. So I pulled over, and he comes flying up behind me. He's like, "Where'd he go? Where'd he go?" I'm like, dude, I think that was me you just clocked. The guy's like, fuck. He gets back on the radio. He's like, 1022, the guy got away from me. I don't know where he went. I'm like, but at first when he called it out, I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm right on top of this shit. Yeah, I was actually in the shit.
So speaking of on top and in the shit, I am working for a agency, and I'm patrolling a neighborhood. I'm blacked out. I've got no lights on, no nothing going on right now. And I get a phone call. Hey, where are you? Hey, I'm in a particular area. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, hey, we've got a report of a vehicle riding up and down the street with no lights on. And I'm like, oh, okay, bet. And they're like, well, where are you? And I said, well, I'm halfway up Uranus right now. Considering we had streets that were named after solar system.
Oh, so the street's name was Uranus?
Yes, we did have a street named Uranus. So I was halfway up Uranus, and my lieutenant calls me at the time, and he's like, hey, where are you? And I said, well, I'm halfway up Uranus. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, seriously. I'm like halfway up, halfway down, depending on which way you're going. This is where I'm at right now. And he's like, well, we've got a call of a car riding up and down the street with no lights on. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm on scene. Just log me on patrol in the area. And he's like, oh, okay. Didn't catch on that I was the one riding up and down the street with no lights on that was halfway up Uranus. So he called me back a little while later, and he's like, where are you? And I said, well, I'm halfway down Uranus right now, because I had now been on the other side of the street. So if I was north or south of a particular,
I would love to call it beyond.
it was really
Log me a patrol of Uranus, please.
It was really bad. And then, look, not a month later, I had a medical call, and God bless this woman's soul. We were working her for about 45 minutes, and they called me. I mean, they had drilled her in her shins, and they were putting lines in everywhere, trying to get her to respond to anything that they could at that point. Beyond that, it was beyond my area of expertise. And they called me and asked me where I was, and I'm like, well, I'm on Uranus right now. And they're
You
like,
just liked hanging on that street so you could say that. Did you not?
Look, at that point, I absolutely
I'd have probably been patrolling that street all the time.
I took every opportunity that I could, considering that I was on Uranus, halfway up Uranus, halfway down Uranus, on Uranus. It didn't matter where I was in Uranus.
Definitely that one right there.
Do you know what a pain in the ass is?
Yeah.
Are you a pain in the ass?
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Because she was in Uranus.
Well, it wasn't painful.
Or on Uranus.
I assure you, it was quite enjoyable.
That would have been more funny if, Mr. and Mrs. Hemorrhoid lived up to block or something like that.
Oh my God, if I could have found that, I would have been doing a courtesy check and a welfare check on that house every single
Well, I'm
day.
going to be on Uranus at the hemorrhoid location. Look, they have a guy from this area I worked a long time ago, and he was constantly.
In Uranus?
No, well, he was pain in the anus, constantly calling about speeders and this and that and this and that. And I swore to God one day, which I would actually have to play the lottery to win it. But I said if I ever won the lottery, I was going to buy the house on each side of him, even if they wasn't for sale, pay above market value, and just like open the doors and like have a free for all and let all the homeless and drug heads move in each one of the house on each side of this dude because he was a pain in my anus. And I said, I'm going to drive his property value now. So I said, well, yep. I'm just going to open homeless shelters up on each side, buy old couches and throw them in the front yard, just do all kind of shit for them. So when you think about it, I was talking to somebody today, same guy, same location, still bitching about the same shit. If you don't want a lot of traffic in your school, where you live at, don't move down a fucking road that at the end of it you have two fucking big ass schools. You're gonna have a lot of traffic in the morning and you're gonna have a lot of traffic in the evening because most people don't know how to pull their children off their nipples and put them on the school bus. Your little princess perfect child will be fine on that school bus.
Did you just say nipples?
I said school bus. Yeah, I said you got to pull your kid off your nipple because these kids, they breastfeeding too long or something, and these kids parents are coddling them.
Is that like cut the umbilical cord?
Yes, that's my version. Cut the umbilical cord.
I've had
pop the kid's titty out your mouth.
I've had a couple of those calls.
You had to cut umbilical cords?
I did. I had a call.
You didn't do it like they did in that movie I saw where you like grabbed it in your mouth and start swinging the kid around till it break.
No, that would have been a little messy.
Checking. It was messy on that movie too.
I bet it was. I had a call one night that a mother called the sheriff's office, 911 call, because her child wouldn't stop playing the PlayStation. So me, I'm only 5'2", I'm 5'3" with my boots on. I jumped up on the coffee table and proceeded to chew the student's ass.
Just say it, spit it out.
No, I spit it out, all right. And I told him, I can't believe you're doing this, blah, 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 whatsoever. So the mom is sitting there going, yep. And she's shaking her finger at me. And she wasn't expecting that I turned around to her. And I turned around to her and proceeded to lay her into one and say, if I didn't have to parent your child right now, we wouldn't be in this predicament. But that's the whole...
Plenty calls.
That's plenty calls right now. That
I heard a call one time. I didn't go to it, but I heard it on the air personally. They actually dispatched a deputy to these people's house where their 6-year-old was holding them at knife point and refusing to listen to anything. I'm like,
really?
Oh, this little kid's about to get his ass beat. You know, you can say, yeah, because people's like, oh, I don't want to hurt my children. I don't want to do this. I don't want to
Oh,
do
no.
that.
I'm going to spank my child.
It's called tough love.
No, I'm going to spank my child. No, not happening. My child will know better. We're not playing that game.
Well, the problem is everybody gets a trophy nowadays.
No.
And then I always thought, you got winners and losers. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. You ain't going to win 100% all the time. Stop giving everybody trophies.
There is no participation trophy in my house. My dog don't even get a participation trophy.
Society today. That's all that it's about. I didn't have a super exciting week this week. Except like I said, I did, participate playing firefighter. It's always fun playing with.
Well, that was
fire
exciting
extinguisher.
playing with your hose.
Yeah, the little bitty one from the fire extinguisher.
Oh,
And but
you didn't even get the deuce out?
No, like I said, I just was trying to keep it back, but it hadn't been a very exciting weekend at all for me. Hopefully, I'm gonna come up with some really good stories for next week because
Can you at least get me a 2.5 for next week?
I have no idea what you're talking about. You're confusing the hell out of me right now.
The deuce and a half. Oh, come on!
What,
if you're gonna play
the big military vehicle?
No, if you're gonna play firefighter, you at least have to know the diameter of your hose.
Oh well, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing. I just do what I have to do when I have to do it.
Oh.
Just drop it, girl. Shit.
I don't want to drop it.
Drop it.
I like to
Drop
keep.
it like it's hot.
No, I like to keep it up.
But I'm hoping this coming up week I'm gonna have some more stories because me and Todd had this discussion. It's supposed to be good weather. So I'm gonna go out and write lots of tickets. So but I hope I don't catch anybody out there because I'm planning on writing a lot.
So when you write tickets, do you keep it to a quota?
No, quotas are illegal. I just like to write everyone a ticket. I'll pull over. I had a guy recently, he actually did. He said, well, can I ask you a question, officer? Which I'm not,
Absolutely.
I'm not an officer. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Would you consider giving me a break on this citation?
No.
I went,
I judge everybody equally.
no, I just write everybody a ticket. I said,
Yep.
unless you like pull up and you're bleeding out or, about to die, pretty much you're going to get a ticket.
I had one lady that she passed me at over 100 miles an hour, and I proceeded to let her go and call the next agency, the next town north of me, en route to the hospital because she was in active labor, and I was not prepared to deliver a baby on the side of the road.
No, I pulled a woman over doing like 85 and a 35. Her mom was driving, I assume, and I stopped them. I called the ambulance and the boo-boo bus, and when she left, she didn't have a child yet, but she did have a very healthy baby girl and a big fat ticket. Yep, you heard me right. I wrote the pregnant lady ticket. She could have killed herself when that child going that fast. I'm sorry. Next time she'll think about it. Stay home and call the boo-boo wagon or boo-boo bus to come get you. Do not drive 80-something miles an hour and 35 trying to get to the hospital. You're going to get yourself hurt. And then we got a bigger fuck up. So, and yes, I mean, like I said, this was a long time ago. And I did see her at the courthouse several months later. And
When the baby attached to her
she
tip?
she had a healthy child. And she got her Jeep back. I never heard nothing else about it. So, but yes, I arrested the pregnant lady. She paid her ticket.
Yeah,
And she had a baby girl, by the way.
I don't know if I could arrest the pregnant lady.
I didn't arrest her. I just wrote her a ticket.
I don't know if I could even arrest her a ticket. I have a uterus. I mean, there is a little bit of sympathy going on with that.
I got in a verbal argument with a blind mute person, a deaf mute person. I'm sorry, they weren't blind, they could see, but they were a deaf mute person, and I've got in an argument with them. And excuse my political incorrectness, but I was like, you need to watch where you're going. And they were like, ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, and I'm screaming, you almost killed me, you stupid, blah, blah. And they were like, nee, 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 and screaming back at me like that. And I was like, And finally, this went on for a few minutes, and Coon, who I've talked about her, he finally looked at me and says, "You do realize they can't understand or hear a word you're fucking saying, and you're screaming at a deaf person, like they're going to hear you better." I said, "Well, I fucking feel better now. Let's go." But yes, I did. I got in sorry if you think I'm being, whatever you think I'm being, but that's how they sounded. And I would scream at them, and they would go back at me. And I did pull over a deaf woman one time and wrote her a ticket. And people were like, "How in the hell did you write a deaf woman a ticket?" Well,
with the pen?
The last time I checked, you didn't have to fucking hear a street sign to know how fast you were going. You had to look at it.
I've been there. In
Then
fact,
the
the
excuses.
Federal Law Enforcement Academy actually puts out booklets on how to encounter the hearing and verbally impaired
Yeah, you talk
persons.
louder. That's just like when you're dealing with somebody that don't speak English. You think if you talk slower and louder, it's magically going to make them understand English.
No, I was
And then
always
they
the
talk-
one that they called.
then they
because
talk
I was
louder?
the only. No. I was always the one that they called to say, "Hey, you can do this," and I'm like, "Great, fantastic." So they always called me. I am not fluent, but I know enough to get by, and they were always the one that they called me to go and communicate with these people. In fact, I was working for your municipality at one point, and they called me all the way up to dispatch, which is like a 20-minute drive away, to come and talk to a lady that a guy was breaking into her house, and they didn't know where she was, and they couldn't understand what she was saying. So they called me up there, and I was able to interpret for her. We were finally able to narrow it down to 2 separate locations and send 2 teams out to go and do that based off of my interpretation, and we were able to find the house. So it's difficult on that one. Yes, it's...
I just talked, louder.
It doesn't always work when you talk louder.
Well, no, because they can't hear you because they're deaf. Of course, we had to. I love excuses though. This one person, one time we pulled them over for speeding. I didn't make the stop. Somebody I worked with made the stop, and the people were like really, really speeding. When he asked them, I don't ever ask you, "Well, do you have a good reason for speeding?" To me personally, no, you don't.
Well, sometimes
Slow
I have
the
to
hell
take a
down.
poop.
Well, you passed 5 gas stations back there. You could have pooped in one of those.
But they might not have had the good toilet paper.
Well, John Wayne it up. John Wayne it up. Use the John Wayne paper. But anyway, this woman here, she decided to give an excuse even though none was asked for. Said the reason she was speeding is that her house burnt down. I'm like, is it on fire at this moment? Well, no. Okay. Well, my point is why are you in a big fucking hurry? Your house already burnt down like last week, you said. But so you're still using that shit as an excuse? No, here's your ticket. No, I don't want to hear you because your house burnt down. Well, you were just speeding and the house was already out.
A week ago.
Slow down. Yeah, the house had burnt down a week before we
The adjuster already came out.
stopped her. So that is just a pain in the ass. Kids, stop setting shit on fire. It's not the 4th of July right now. I don't even know where these motherfuckers getting all these fireworks. Around here, you can only get them twice a year. 4th of July and
New
Christmas
Year's.
and New Year's. And that, to me, Christmas and New Year's is all mounted up in the same location anyway. So stop.
So
Do not fire fireworks at people. You could put somebody's eye out.
Well, that's a little bit of a 22 situation.
Yeah, well, you could put somebody's eye out with a firecracker.
But that's a wonderful Christmas story.
I had one time when I was little, probably about 12. We were outside popping just firecrackers. You light them and you throw them. You light them and you throw them. Pow, pow. Well, you ever get that one when you light it, it goes shoo, like real fast in there. And you're like, oh shit. Well, it did that. And I was like, I said, oh shit. And I threw it because I didn't want it to blow up in my hand. Well, this guy that was down here with
Did
us.
he catch it?
Oh, he caught it. Yeah. The back of his pants were like really loose and baggy, and his back to me. When I just threw it to get rid of it, it went up. It went straight down the back of his pants by his booty hole, and it went off, and it blew a fucking hole clean through his drawers, burnt his ass. This poor guy is in a parking lot, and my poor mom was out there putting Band-Aids and alcohol wipes on this dude's butt cracks. I just about
Oh my
blew him a
God!
new
Why are you
ass
putting an
off.
alcohol wipe on a booty hole? You don't do that. Rule number one.
It was the new booty hole, not the old one, because it blew a new booty hole on him. Be careful with them firecrackers, and especially if you wear it. See, if people with saggy pants, be careful, because shit will fall down in there and explode.
All right, ladies, be careful. If you are out on the range and you are one of the top shooters and they arrange you in order of the way that you can qualify, if you've got somebody in front of you and you're number 2, no pun intended.
Never good to be a number 2.
It's never a good thing to be number 2. But if you're number 2 and you've got somebody who's shooting a semi-automatic that's ejecting rounds out to their right, if you're number 2, be careful where you're standing, because I assure you that brass is going to go right down your ass, and it's going to fit right in between your duty rig and your pants.
Yeah, do you rig on you and it's still got on your pants?
Well, okay. Do you have hips?
Yeah. I
Okay,
do.
so when you have hips, there's a little bit of a gap between the back, which is where a tramp stamp would go.
Yeah, I had mine covered.
Oh, I didn't.
I had it covered.
No, I didn't. I flaunt mine.
I had a Titanic sinking into my butt crack. No, I'm just joking. That would be a weird looking ass tattoo. Though.
No pun intended.
It's just sinking.
I mean, if you're gonna have it sinking in your ass.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's got to sink in something. It was a shitty day for them people. So
Oh, that was bad. That was bad. So anyway, I had brass going down my back and falling into the gap because companies don't make duty rigs fit for women. So they're all fit for men, which are typically square. But, you know, women, we have hips.
I'm not square. I'm round. Round is a shape.
Well, if
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, people. Y'all pick on us bigger people. People don't kidnap fat people because we don't fit in the trunk. So it's you little skinny fuckers. Be careful. Be careful, skinny motherfuckers. You're gonna get kidnapped.
Hey. I am one of those skinny motherfuckers.
Well, you better watch yourself. You're gonna get
You know what
kidnapped.
happened? I always got thrown into the window.
And you're
Hey,
short
we're
too.
going to serve a search warrant. Guess what? Booty up, girl. In the window. Yes, I'm not short. I'm fun sized.
Well, you fit in the trunk.
I do.
They
fit in
don't
a
want to
trunk.
put my big ass in the trunk because they'd look like, what do they call it, squatted vehicle.
Oh my God.
Hell's wrong with your car? I got a big fat guy in the trunk. Fucker blew out my struts on my car.
Jesus.
You ever see them cars go down the road? It's got too much shit in the trunk and they're sitting there bouncing like that.
But wait, that's like normal things nowadays.
I don't understand that squatting stuff. If
What?
anybody listening understands,
Please
or
do not
knows
squat your
why
truck.
you have squatted. I don't know if did you not have enough money to lift the back too?
I mean, look, at my
Or what?
day, we lifted the back 2
I was
inches
about to
higher than
say,
the front.
Yeah, if you had a truck back in the day, you had mud grips on the back.
Thank
street
you.
tires on the front.
Amen.
And you were looking down at the ground. Now, I don't see how you drive that squatted stuff because you're looking straight up at the sky.
I don't know. It's like riding a freaking roller coaster.
I just don't know. If anybody listening knows why people do that or have...
And I can't even make a Jazzland
Please.
reference at this point because, like, woo, that's not there no more.
I just want them to email or something to me to let me know why I do that. I don't know. It's not cool. I don't think it's cool. I think
No,
it's kinda stupid
and it looks
looking.
stupid. Not to mention your headlights are all
Well,
jacked
I
up.
did. Friday, I did. I was riding on my bike, after the tot broke down, and I did pass a Lincoln, an older 90s mid-model Lincoln Town car. Okay, we know what that is. It had
We do.
It had
Was it a Caprice?
No, it was the full size, big Mama and Papa Lincoln Town car.
Nice.
And I just lost my train of thought. You see what happens when you get old, people? I knew exactly what I was going to say and
Did it get you excited?
forgot. No, I was, the Lincoln Town car. This car had like 28-inch rims on it with the low-profile tires. So
Did it have spinners?
No, it was just rims. Instead of the car's like way off the ground because he's just way too big. But the cream du jour of this one is it had one of the stick-on hood scoops on top of it, and then it had the fake vents on it. It had every like 99-cent shit you could get from.
So we're talking about like a four-banger trying to imitate an 8.
It was just it was horrible. It was like you just got all these shit. The car was just, I was looking at it, I was like, geez, I wouldn't take a picture of it. I did take a picture a couple weeks ago. It was a older model, early 90s Ford Mustang. Nothing against my Texas people. I love y'all, but.
Like the 5.0 kind?
No, this was after the cool 5.0s. It was the year that they come out with the other body style. But anyway, this I actually sent the picture to Bam. This car had a set of fucking horns mounted to the hood of it.
Please tell me there was horns.
No, yeah,
like legit horns,
like
in addition,
real Texas Longhorn
like
horns.
the visual in addition to the audible.
It was. I didn't get a good picture of it because I was like in heavy traffic and we were moving, and I didn't want to, run into anyone because I shouldn't have been taking a picture and driving. But I couldn't help myself. So this is what you got. You'll get it here. Look.
Oh, nice. So we're talking about the what's the movie?
Smokey and the Bandit, or did Boss Hogg?
No, the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
If I ever watched that or anything.
With Bruce. No, not Bruce Willis. What was the guy?
John Travolta. I don't know.
No,
I never watched it. Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton.
But yes, this Mustang. I'll try to remember and put this up on our account since this one's coming out. But this Mustang had a set of fucking horns mounted to the hood.
That is awesome.
Wow.
I always wanted handprints mounted to the hood of my car. That way they
ain't
knew
nothing but a
when I said, "Hey, put your hands on the hood of my car," they knew exactly where to go.
That's just another sticker. This is actually cow horns on a Mustang.
But that's fantastic.
I mean, who the fuck? Nothing against my Texas people, but this car was from Texas, and look at it.
But that's fantastic.
No,
I mean, I'm not seeing a problem with it.
Yeah, that's all kind of.
I mean,
just
unless
wrong.
you have a.
It's a Mustang. Why don't they just mount a horse head to the front of it?
Well, I mean, if you have a license plate that says or a bumper sticker that says "honk if you're horny," then that's a different story.
Oh, they actually had real horns on their vehicle there. It was horrible. That's been about my week this week. I mean, it wasn't an exciting week at all. I saw some stupid cars, and I can go on about the squad and stuff forever, but I don't understand them. Same interstate shit as usual. Nothing stood out that really, pissed me off that I was not used to.
But there's always stuff that pisses us off that we're used to.
But it wasn't a bad week where just totally stupid shit. So.
Well, I mean, we've got other shit involved where people call out, people call in sick, people fake sick.
Well, I don't have that issue. So.
Oh.
I work in a specialized division. There's not many of us, and we're considered, I guess, non-essential. So if we call in sick or something, they really don't care. As long as the uniform patrol division is, running on all 8 cylinders. Like, Oh, we're missing a couple motor guys. Fuck it. Were they gone? Anyway, we have been running for a while. It's extremely late, like 1:30 in the morning.
Oh my God, is it really?
Yes. So we're gonna call this one quits tonight. People, look, if y'all have any questions, ideas, comments, want to be a guest, hit me up.
Do you get a day off tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm off tomorrow.
Oh,
Thank
me
God.
too. But I have to go back on Monday.
Well, most people do.
Bastards.
Parlor, Twitter. We're gonna put the links in the description. I hope we've been doing that. I said we have been, but we're on and off with it. Facebook, like I said, hit us up. If you email me, MOTORCOP Chronicles at Gmail, I will definitely email you back. As usually probably within an hour.
We'll answer your questions.
Just whatever. It just makes me happy that people email and ask me anything.
I want to hear the questions.
I haven't got any questions yet. That's what
But that's what I want to hear. I want to hear the questions.
Yeah, well, me too.
I'll provide the answer.
Yeah, so send us some questions.
Definitely send questions.
And remember, people, always smile, because the Iceman could always be behind you.
I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made.